Cool. And we'll get started. So welcome to our ninth, I need to update this, ninth TLA session officially here, ninth weekly TLA. It's exciting to kind of get things rocking and rolling here. And I'm going to dive right into the content. I'll skip a little of the preludes and opening thoughts. I know today for some of you guys that have been watching this election, it's been a wild little ride here for the past 24 to 48 hours. So encourage you guys to keep buckling your seats. And like I said, keep focusing on also, I know there's a lot going on in the world, so it can be sometimes hard to focus on what you have in front of you. But, again, like I said in the TLA chat last night, you're going to affect the quality of your life a lot more than any person in office will. So, and I want to encourage you guys as you're going through about your days, about your week, or however long this thing lasts, is to continue working on developing yourself and being the best version of yourself, because that's ultimately how you'll make an impact in your own life and also in the people around you. So we'll kick things off. I want to start things off with some administrative stuff, some assignment reminders, and some quick calendar updates. So do me a quick favor. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and open up your calendar and get your notes out. So as I walk you guys through this, you can be on the same page with exactly what's due between now and our Fall Classic event, and make sure that you're not behind or confused on assignments or anything else like that. So take a quick second, get your calendars out, do whatever you need to do. And let me walk you all through some reminders here. So this is a quick, and maybe Mike, if you're able to, my thing's all messed up. If you can maybe take a screenshot of this for me. Let me move things back. Cool. If someone could take a screenshot and post this into the TLA chat, that would help me out a little bit just with the important dates. But as you all know, we are in the middle, in the heat, if you will. Guess like what I did there? In the heat of the Capture the Cup push. And we got about a week and a half left of this actual push. I'm looking at Lindsay shaking her head. We got a week and a half left of the actual push here before our Fall Classic event that is coming up here as well. So the next thing that you guys want to have on your radar is the TLA prep that is coming up. So TLA prep number 4, which is only an hour and a half. Basically, it's a weekly call essentially, but we will have a TLA prep to go along with Fall Classic. So the Fall Classic event really is the TLA prep. There'll be a management boot camp event that happens there for all of our BMCs and AMCs and anyone that's currently in TLA. But we will also have our own local division meeting Friday the 13th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. So next Friday, a week from this Friday, we'll have a TLA call from 5 to 6:30. And then we will spring right into an order jam that I will be facilitating along with some NLG members to get set up for a massive finish to the Capture the Cup push. So make sure you have those dates and times. That's not an NLG session. That's a session for everybody in TLA as a preemptive session to our Fall Classic event, which will happen on Saturday. So 5 to 6:30 p.m., just like all TLA preps, it's pretty much already overdue. If you have something or a conflict or anything like that, you need to let me know 2 weeks ahead of time. But make sure that you're carving out your schedule to be able to do that and rock an awesome phone jam there. On November 14th, on that Saturday, we have our Fall Classic event. 11:15, our guerrilla marketing campaign begins, which I'll explain a little bit about today on the call as part of our January or our December, January program. And we'll talk about what guerrilla marketing is, how to execute that. And you all as candidates coming out of the Fall Classic event will have an opportunity to kind of participate in the success of what we call the mini summer. And so for a lot of you all coming up, there's a mini summer coming up, and that is the winter break. And when we say mini summer, we don't say mini summer in terms of like results. Mini summer is in terms of duration, meaning it's shorter time period, but it has the potential to have just as high, if not higher results than we experience during the peak weeks of our summer business. It just happens in a 3 to 4 week window versus a 3 to 4 month window. And I really want to encourage you guys, for all of our future branch and district managers, the winter break is when if you've been kind of like halfway in, halfway out, sort of engaged, but not really, the winter break is the time to get engaged. That is the time where if you want to feel well prepared, well trained, well educated with a high level of understanding of the business, get involved as much as possible during that program, because what you will all be able and get a chance to witness and see, even if you're going to be assistant manager, is really what happens during the summertime. because we're going to do literally every single thing that we do leading into a summer of Cutco. We're going to do that for the winter break program, just on a shorter, faster, slightly different version of it. But, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see your district managers do exactly what we do in March. From now until really Fall Classic, it's all about getting ready, prepared, doing the planning that's involved, and getting our assistant managers corralled to have an awesome summer or an awesome winter break. From November 14th, from Fall Classic to the end of November, we go on, all of our district managers are going on an SMRA blitz, and it's all about hiring SMRAs, tapping into new networks, getting things locked and loaded before we go into the summer. Once December hits, and that's, by the way, that's exactly what we do in April going into the summer. Once December hits, that's kind of like the beginning of May as we're building the summer. It's all about getting assistant manager PRs in the door, building our teams, doing social media campaigns, blitz, guerrilla marketing. And then once mid-December hits, mid-December to mid-January, that's like our peak weeks of the summer. That's like there's a push going on. People are selling. No one's in classes. We've had a massive recruiting blitz. And you're going to get the experience in the last 2 weeks of December and the first 2 weeks of January, really a little bit of like what the culture and environment is during the peak weeks of summer, but you're in a managerial level, like June and July. And then the last 2 weeks of January are pretty much just like August. You've had all these reps that you recruited. They've had a lot of success. Now they're transitioning back to school. Now they're transitioning into a leadership role or into some other environment, and kind of nailing that transition with your people that you've recently recruited and developed is important. So you guys are going to get a chance to witness that. And we'll talk about a little bit more on the call, really exactly what does it look like to go all out with guerrilla marketing. On 11/20, we have our NLG call. So anyone that submitted a letter of intent, if you don't have a letter in, then you don't need to go to this. This is only moving forward. NLG sessions will be only for people that have letters of intent submitted. If at this point in the game you don't have a letter of intent, then I really only want the serious future candidates that are going to be at that event there too. So we will have a call from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on November 20th. Just remember that. I went over that in the last NLG call. 11/26, the next Thursday, is Thanksgiving. And then 12/12, we have our last prep of the year, our 5th prep. You've made it through the fall of TLA. So there's only an hour and a half more. There's only a really Fall Classic with that TLA hour and a half meeting. And then the last prep that we have at the end of the year is you guys are wrapping up with finals and getting back home over the break. So make sure if you haven't done so, you've gotten these dates down. And I want to review some assignments for everybody. So first one I'll talk about is book club, okay, NLG. So we have 2 books that are due, and they're not due by Fall Classic. They're due by 12/12. Now, here's what I want to say. I'll actually start off with the first book that's for everyone. So TLA, General TLA, the book is the 4 Agreements. It's similar. It's actually a little bit shorter than How to Win Friends and Influence People. So, it's probably a 4-hour read or a 4-hour audio, and again, you've got like 2 months to work on this thing. So you've got time, but don't procrastinate with it. In fact, don't procrastinate. I have given you guys some benchmark deadlines because we're going to start debriefing the book as we go versus waiting till the end of the TLA prep. So by Fall Classic, you should have read chapter 1 and chapter 2, which again will probably take 45 minutes. So read that by Fall Classic. By 11/2, do the weekly TLA prep, and then by 12/12, so by 11/2, which is a weekly TLA prep, you should be at chapter 4. By 12/12, you should be finished with the book by that TLA prep. So I'm going to take a quick photo, maybe into the group chat here. Or Mike, are you able to take some photos and send these as we go?
Is there any way that Alex can do it by chance?
Yeah, is there someone else that's on or a DM that can maybe help me facilitate?
If not, I could do it. Alex, are you able to? I'm just facilitating attendance for my office still.
You're good. You're good.
I can do it.
All right. Thanks, Alex. I'll tell you what to screenshot and send photos in. So we got this one. Now here's this one's pretty easy for the general TLA. The one I want to talk about is NLG Book Club, Good to Great, Jim Collins. So same thing. I'm going to give you guys chapters assigned. So NLG, this book is a longer book. This is not like How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is not one of those ones you can wait till 2 days before prep and just cram it in. You will not finish it in time. It is I think it's almost 500 pages. This is a book. Okay. That's the reason, by the way, you guys don't really have any assignments outside of this book. And I want to encourage you guys. I was having a conversation with Mike at our Tuesday staffer. And I also want to like just walk you guys a little bit through like the rationale and reasoning behind this book. We talked about it a lot of the last TLA prep, but keep in mind, like, this is not school. I don't really care to get y'all's book report or to like get some notes from you to confirm that you read it. You know, like you don't need to study. Like there's, and this is why I want to preface it, because in Good to Great, there's like things like case studies and some longer texts and passages in there. What I want you all to do is not read this book like it's an assignment for one of your classes and you're going to get quizzed on it. I want you to read this book like you're reading it for personal growth, which means as you go through it, like, it's not to memorize it. It's not to like know enough so you can say that you read it. It is to see what can you pull out of it? What can you learn? What sticks out to you? What light bulbs are you taking away as you're going through? And maybe you're reading one of those long ass case studies is like, you know, this really helps. This is a good perspective. And other times, you know, if you need to skim through some of the stuff and search for the nuggets, like, that's okay too. You know, but I want to echo a couple different things, is that, like, read it like a personal growth book. Tried it like, and in fact, I can give you guys a couple tips if you want. Mike, I know you gave yours a couple tips to your class on just how to read better and be able to pull out more. I don't know if you had any other thoughts for TLA as they're going through that book.
Yeah, I do. I'm reading the book right now. I'm reading about 20 pages a day. When I say reading 20 pages a day, it's more like I'm going over 20 pages a day. So I'll read until I find something that is relevant. If I find that it's relevant, like, I'll almost like glance. It's not even read. See, there's two types of reading. There's reading, like read every single word that's on the book, on the page. And then there's like glancing at the words where I'm not reading with my mind's voice, like that voice you use outside where it's like you're reading the words and you read it out loud. It's more of just glancing over the eyes. And if I catch something that is like, ooh, that's interesting, then I'll read. If nothing catches my attention that I'm glancing at and going through, then I'm just going to go through it. And that's how I'm able to get through the content. So in this book specifically, I read when he talked about level 5 leadership. I didn't really dig into the case study of Eckerd's versus Walgreens. Like, if I was presenting a report to Andrew about the difference between Eckerd and Walgreens and why did Eckerd fail and why did Walgreens succeed, then I'd probably have gone through it and highlighted and took some notes on it. But it was good, but it wasn't necessarily relevant. So I didn't like read every single word. So that's what I would suggest. Go through it, find what's interesting to you, what you want to stick, what sticks. And then, like, what I do is I fold the page and circle the paragraph. Yeah. And then I'll keep going. And if it's an ebook, you just can, star it or highlight it or whatever the case may be. But that's what I'm doing.
And look for your biggest light bulbs. What are your biggest nuggets? What are the biggest takeaways as you're going through it? What are the things that you need to implement? I also want you guys, as you go through this book, to be thinking about it from a division perspective, you know, and literally the reason why we're reading this is because we're a good division right now. We're a good division, you know, and we have the potential and the opportunity to become great. And I really think, and it's not about the success of the division. It's about the success that happens at the individual level that creates the success of the division. You know, and so as a lot of you guys are going out preparing to run your own offices next summer, and the reason this is an NLG book, because y'all have been through before, you've already had success. And this is all about how do we liberate that and create more, and also avoid hubris and avoid going backwards or avoid being, you know, just the same. So I'll go ahead and do this. Alex, if you want to grab a photo and send this in. These are the assignments. So follow along with these. Due by 11:20 NLG call. We will debrief on that call. You should be about, you know, close to halfway done with the book by 11:20. You know, so if you haven't started now, there is a deadline for halfway. You can't procrastinate this one because we'll start discussing it. Then you want to be by, you know, probably 70% done by this date, and then 100% done by the 12/12 December prep. So I am also reading it, and I'm going to be excited to debrief it with you guys on the 11:20 call here coming up. So you guys have those. Again, same thing as always, add to startup, submitting letter of intent if you haven't done so already. Let me go over, those are the book assignments, okay? Let me go over the other assignments. Actually, I'll hit on the last one then. Assignment number one is rock your capture the cup push. I'm going to give you guys a couple of thoughts on that. Number two is money honey assignments. So same thing, if we want to take a photo of this one and send it to the group chat. This is on your money honey login, but these are due by the fall classic. So I think some of you guys asked about the savings buckets. That was due by November 1st. That was supposed to be not savings buckets, by the budget. That was supposed to be already due. And if you didn't do that, you're going to need to have it done to be able to do the savings bucket template. So there's a link on the website where you submit your savings bucket, and that is due by the Fall Classic or Olean event. Again, this is pretty, probably takes 30 minutes to actually do. So if you haven't done that, submit that. Rocker capture the cut push. And the most important assignment that I want to spend a little bit of time going over tonight is this one right here. Okay, this is the most important assignment that we have, and all of them are important, but this one is crucial that everyone's on the same page, that you guys are actively working on this, that you're not procrastinating on this, and that you're doing a good job with this, because this one will affect not only your own success in the January, December program and push, but it's really going to affect the success of your office and your managers and the way that we pull together as a district team, but the overall execution. And I'll tell you right now is you want your district office to perform at a high level during this push. Like I said, you're going to get a chance to witness what a full-blown summer-style office looks like over the winter break. You won't be able to experience that if your office really sucks or struggles. Well, you'll get a chance to experience what it's like to be in a low-performing office during the summertime. What I want to share with you guys, though, is that you are going to be integral roles and parts of really getting that going, just like assistant managers are as we enter into the summertime. So the assignment, that I gave out last TLA prep, I didn't send out a lot of reminders from it last week because the main thing was like, get ready for the capture the cup. I didn't want to overwhelm you guys, but this is going to be due by next Friday. So you've got about a week and a half to start working on this thing. Okay. And that is to submit a list of your top 25 to 50 PRs for the winter break. So let me expand here a little bit. Okay. What everyone in TLA will do, and this is not just TLA, we're going to have our reps do this as well, is to submit a list of PRs or personal recruits of people that could potentially be looking for work over the winter break. Who can those people be? Because almost everyone here has probably, recommended people through the app before. You've handed people over to your managers. You posted up on social media. Well, there's two things that are important here. Number one, situations change. Okay. And so you may have had somebody that wasn't looking for work last summer. Guess what? After going to college for a fall, maybe blowing through a lot of their money or savings, or maybe some situation happened, or maybe their parents are still looking for work and now they have to help out a little. Like, there's a million situations that could cause someone to want to work over the winter break, and they did not and were not interested this summer. There's going to be some people, by the way, there's a trip, wink, wink, that's coming up that will announce at Fall Classic that you all will be eligible. But guess what? If your friends start and have a strong fast start, they can also hit the trip. My first year, I had multiple people that I had recommended during the summer. They weren't interested. And they literally started working with Cutco just for 3 to 4 weeks over the winter break, just so they could hit the trip with me. And they came to Cabo with me that year. That was literally their only reason. And they did make, 2 or 3 grand in the process, boosted up their resume, got some internship experience, and then they hit the trip. So maybe they love to travel. Maybe they actually, they're a senior and their senior year, and they're about to graduate in the spring, and they've got a shitty, resume with not a lot on it, and they need to beef it up over the winter break. Maybe it's someone in that situation. Maybe it's someone that needs to get internship credit before they graduate college, and they can work with us for 3 to 4 weeks over the winter break. And this is what we're going to talk about with guerrilla marketing, but it's very interesting what we do over the winter break, because essentially we are creating a job market for a job market that doesn't exist. Most students don't know that they can go back home and work for just 3 to 4 weeks and call it a day and go back to school and classes in the spring. So a lot of students don't pursue work because it's not like any jobs will really hire them for 3 to 4 weeks. Well, guess what? We will. We will hire people for 3 to 4 weeks over the winter break. And the best part is that it's virtual. It's in a virtual environment. So they have the opportunity to continue virtually, into the spring, or they could stop it in the spring and return and open up some doors and opportunities for them for next summer. So I really want you guys to be expansive. It is totally worth recommending people that you've recommended in the past. It's totally worth recommending people that you haven't and never did recommend, and they could be a good candidate for it. Be thinking about people that you've met this fall since you started a job that you didn't know when you started the job this summer. Maybe you recommend a bunch of people when you started, but since then, I got to imagine you've got classes, you've got study groups, you got different organizations you've joined or gotten involved with. And you've been able to start thinking about some of those people. That's how I want you guys to have on this list. Now, by the way, in the past, in previous years, if you've been in TLA before, Last year, I think in previous years, we've asked for, hey, top 50 to 100 plus is what we've asked for. Okay. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for top 25 to 50. And the reason I'm not, okay, is because when we ask for 100, people just put a bunch of random ass people on this sheet. And that actually causes more work for your managers because we call all those random ass people, right? And it makes it a lot harder to work because there's been no sort of thought process that's just like, you just put people on your phone and put them on a spreadsheet. I want you guys actively being involved in the recruiting process. There's a reason Eddie De Las Cuevas has 43 PRs and is one of the best recruiters in the company. He did a good job with grooming people and setting it up for his manager. He wouldn't just put 25 PRs on the list. He'd personally talk to 25 people and then put them on that list, even if they weren't interested, like just as long as they were open to the idea, and he'd get them on that list and groom them as well. So, I'm asking for top 25 to 50. Hell, shit, guys. I'd rather you give me 10 or 15 and not even get to 25. And you just recommend 10 to 15 people, but there are 10 to 15 good people that we're going to recruit. I don't actually care how big the list is. What I care about is that we're helping you get some actual PRs on the team for the winter break program that can do three things. Number one, they can sell for you and help you out. They can actually sell for your office, perform, and help out your team. Number two, they count for PR credit for you. So you have a higher chance of hitting the winter January trip, which will also help towards your actual contributions there. Number three, it's actually building and working on your recruiting skills, which I think is one of the best skills that you can have in the business. And then finally, for some of you of future aspiring branch managers, you need to talk to your district manager. But in some of our offices, if I'm a branch manager, I'm going to recruit someone from my office over the winter break. Well, guess what? They could probably go out with you next summer into your office. So I recruit one of my friends and I bring him into the office and I have him work with my district manager over the winter break in the spring. There's a good chance I can bring that person with me to my office next summer. So it is a multifaceted, prong here. And we're not going to reach out to any of these people, by the way, until December. But the assignment is due by the fall classic event. And it's important that you actually put some thought and energy into this and not just scrabble a bunch of people down on a piece of paper to get the assignment in and then waste your manager's time later in December when they're sitting there cranking out calls and trying to help you get some friends in the team and you recommended the worst people in your contact list. So don't do that. Spend a little bit of energy and time on this. That actual list, everyone has a Google sheet that is being created for you. So if you go to, let me go to Drive.
While you're pulling that up, can I say something?
Yeah, Mike, you got it.
Yeah, Audrey is a great example last year of doing this. She traveled during the break. She went on a couple week vacation, but she recruited a few people. One of which is her sister, who, by the way, thought she was insane to sell knives in the beginning and was like, "No, that's just your thing. That's weird. I'm not going to do it." But then Hannah started selling Cutco, hit a couple of pay raises, and sold for the break. It was just a winter break job, and then school started back up, and that was it. But she joined the alliance and she sold as well. And Audrey, tell real fast while Andrew's pulling this up. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. How did you convince your sister to join the team during winter break and all the other people you recruited during that time frame? And what was the trip to Jamaica worth the recruiting opportunity? And then, oh, by the way, you earned a branch office, and then Krista wouldn't be here if you didn't do that, and other lives are impacted and stuff. But go ahead.
Yeah, the work I put in was definitely worth it to go to Jamaica with my peeps, hanging out with Jess, Amanda, Andrew was there, Adrian, Jonathan, so much fun. So it was definitely worth it. For months, I was trying to recruit my sister. I'm like, come on, Hannah, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. No, I'm good. But Hannah, she was going into her senior year. She needed experience. She wants to get into medical sales. And I'm like, girl, I'm offering you this opportunity to help you with your future. The skills you're going to learn here look really great on your resume to future employers, even if it's just for a little bit. She was strapped for cash. She needed some money quick. I'm like, dude, it's just for a couple of weeks. It can't hurt. So that's how I got my sister to come in. As far as everyone else, I think I just did, I made my top 20 to 50 list, send Canvas emails, and then was out recruiting through Instagram and just different platforms to get more people on the trip, or more people to come in so I could hit the trip.
Yeah, I love that, Audrey. Thanks for sharing. And sometimes, by the way, to Audrey's point, like you have to like this is where being a good recruiter comes in, because you got to know, your people. Like sometimes, like some of the ways are like some people, guys, if you're really aggressive with them, like it's not going to go well. Like you're going to turn them off. Like it's going to seem like you're trying way too hard. So like some people I know, I'm doing like the pushback. I'm like I'm not trying to recruit them, but like in my mind, I'm not trying to recruit them. I'm like, yeah, it's not, maybe it's not for you, blah, blah. I'm just like casually dropping like, little like glimpses of like how much money I made and blah, blah. It's like too, just being really casually about it, and other people, like, it's like, I've had people in the past with my boy or something like that. Like, I'm just like, look, like, I'll just straight up like, dude, you're being an idiot. Like you don't have anything going for you. Your resume sucks. Like you need this. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm setting you up for an interview. You don't have an option. Like, there's other people, but you got to know your audience. You got to know your crowd, right? And that's part of like what being a good recruiter, I think, kind of looks like and is. So I sent the link into the group chat. Okay. And this is the link that you guys will be able to follow. There's a folder for each and every single one of your offices. And on these folders and on these sheets, what you'll do is you'll go to this document. Okay. And this is, by the way, this is a TLA test number 1. To see who messes this up. Because if you don't know how to use Google Drive and spreadsheets, you're going to struggle to be an assistant or a branch manager next year. This is the technology part that you have to learn about, how to not mess up other people's Google Sheets and screw up the folders. So I'll give you guys access to these folders. In each one of these, there's a template. Okay. And you guys can see the template. Okay. It says candidate name, office name, PR list. So what I would do what everyone will do is they're going to make a copy of this template. Cool. And when you make a copy, don't just make a copy and leave it in there and then have other people have to clean and organize the folder. Then you'll rename it. And who can give me a guess of like what you put right here?
That would be your name there.
Yeah. So this would be my name. Who do you think, who knows what you put in the next little line?
That would be Tampa, or for you, it would be Metro Miami.
Boom. That's it. Just rename it to your name -office. And then I will go to my list and I edit my list. So everyone has a copy of this here. Okay. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. You have PR name, phone number, school relation. All this stuff is for later. You don't need to worry about it. That's why it's red. All you do is fill out the section, and just PR name, phone number, school relation. Now, what is important, again, don't mess this up. There's 2 tabs. There's a high school and there's a college tab. The timing of which we will reach out to these people is different depending on whether they're high school or in college. The high schoolers we're going to wait to reach out to because they get out of classes later. College students get back sooner and we want to reach out. We don't want to wait to reach out to some of these people, when December comes around. So knowing that ahead of time will be helpful. So make sure you put your people on your correct tab. If they're already in college, you put them on the college. If they're currently in high school, you put them on the high school tab. We're also going to add one more tab in here, which will be called local or non-local. Although I'm not really sure that matters too much here right now. The other part that you can fill out is are they already interested? So if you're putting people down on the list and randomly you have a conversation with someone like they're already interested in working over the winter break, make sure you put, again, yes, no, miscellaneous. It'll just be yes, if they're already interested. That way your manager doesn't like wait, a month to reach out to that person just because they don't have, like, if there's someone that they should prioritize, make sure that they know, like, hey, this person's already waiting for a call. Like, they're already interested. I already talked to them. And you guys have that there too. So any questions at all on the PR list assignment or the Google Sheets or forms?
When is that PR list due?
November 13th, the night before Fall Classic. So by that TLA prep from 5 to 6:30 on the 13th, I will go over that. Cool. You don't need to reach out to any of these people, although you can, and I probably would start to have conversations. But if you want to just get them on the list, focus on your push, we're not going to reach out to them right away. So a lot of people you can put on the list, you can start to have the conversations after the push is over, after the Fall Classic, 2 to 3 weeks out before we actually end up reaching out to any of these people. But the more work and energy you pour into this assignment, the easier it's going to be for your manager to help you actually get PRs on the team and make sure that you're hitting that actual trip there too. Any other final follow-up questions here, guys, with this?
Yes. Just because I know I've messed this up way too many times. Can you show me the first step to making a copy?
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's
Just
do
don't want to
some
mess it up.
tech lessons here, okay?
Yeah.
Let me go back to this. Okay. Can you guys see my,
Yes.
is it sharing my browser?
Yes.
All right, cool. So if I'm in the folder, okay, it's mainly just right click. So what I would do is I'd hit right click it. Okay, if you're on Mac, it's double, like 2 taps. Like that's the right click on the Mac. Or, by the way, if you don't know how to right click, you can do control click and it does the same thing. Okay, and all you do is click on this, right click it, and there should be a make a copy button. You do that, and in the same place, you hit rename.
Okay.
Yep,
Cool. Thank you.
you got it. Any other questions? All right, let me, somehow these are on different pages. All right, cool. We're gonna move on here a little bit, guys, from the assignments, okay? So those assignments, due by fall classic is your PR list, okay? And then just the money honey assignment and rock your push. That's it. Okay, that's the only thing you guys need to have in by the fall classic event, and then start working on the books. There is deadlines and chapters due by fall classic, so start working on that now. The next thing that I'm going to have you guys do before I go into the more educational portion of today and kind of some direction, I want you guys to take a quick second to fill out this Google form that I am going to send into the TLA chats. Once you guys get the link, you can just go ahead and fill it out. If you don't know the information, find the information and then fill it out. But I'm sending you guys a quick link to a Google form with some school dates. So your managers want to know when exactly you're coming back and what the situation is there with like you and school and all that stuff. And everyone's in a different boat. I know some of you guys have Thanksgiving and you're literally done after Thanksgiving. You don't have to go back to school for finals. Actually, that's the case for a lot of you all. You don't have to go back to school after Thanksgiving for finals. Now, a lot of you all don't have to go back to school for Thanksgiving for finals, but you're going back anyways. Okay, so if that's the case, your managers want to know if you're coming back into town and you're local after Thanksgiving, they kind of want to know that. We just want to get a good idea of when your finals are, when your spring classes start, what your winter break dates actually look like. Are you going out of town so we can actually have some plans with you guys in terms of candidacy? So take a quick second to fill that guy out, as everyone already should be here right now. Okay, and then managers, I'll make sure I give you the responses after this, but you should have dates, what school are you in, and just what's the last of your classes, when your finals over, when will you be back home from school, and when's your first day of spring classes.
Can while they're filling that out, can I mention something?
Yeah, Mike, you got it.
So one of the things that I would invite y'all to think about, and we do this during the summer. So I was talking to someone today about this, that before the summertime, we invite our branches to try to get out of their classes as early as possible so they could have more summer. So requesting to take their exams early as possible. You might say, Mike, no, I don't want to take my exams early. I want to have more time to study. And in typical student terminology, having more time to study just means procrastination. That's all that means. More time to study just means procrastination. I just need more time to think about it and have a deadline from my professor to, extend it. In my terminology, the way I would like for you to think about it and interpret is, if I have to work under an imposed deadline, I might as well make that imposed deadline as early as possible. So that way I have a longer break. So your professors can be flexible with you for the summer and for winter break, especially right now, because most of those professors don't even know what the hell they're doing. They want to get done as fast as possible, just like you want to get done as fast as possible. So you have leverage. Hey, professor, I have a very busy break. I'd like to get done with my exams as fast as possible. I have this awesome competitive internship that I'm getting a chance to work at. Is there any way that I could finish my exams and the class and finish everything the week after Thanksgiving? How sick would it be by December 1st, you're done and you don't go back to school until like January 11th, and you have a full 5 weeks uninterrupted for you to travel, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, be done with school, work, recruit, practice for running a branch, running, helping run the office behind the scenes. I mean, there's so many benefits to being able to open that schedule up. And what's the consequence is you're going to have to move the time frame up just earlier than what they're giving to you. But if you don't ask, you can never receive. So I know many individuals on the Zoom have done this before. And if they want to speak to this, I've always done this. So I think it's really an invitation to all of you to get a larger break and get done with school as fast as freaking possible, especially, with the simplicity of online classes. So that's what I wanted to mention, Andrew. It looks like Alex posted something in the chat if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I don't know if Alex, you want to chime in on that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I can. I mean, when it comes to professors, I've gotten all my professors already to gave me their paper prompts early. I'm an English major, so I don't have too many exams. But I got all the paper prompts early, figured out every single thing I need to do. And I already told them straight up that by the time Thanksgiving break ends, my biggest goal is to make sure everything school-wise is done. So that way, as a district manager, I can come into December strong. So professors will always be very flexible if you just show them who you are. I think you're not the stereotypical college student where you're asking for an extension because, like Mike said, he procrastinated till the last day. Right. Let them know. And then not only are you helping yourself professionally, so you can be more on the ball for the winter break, for basically your low mini summer, and better tackle your future summer, but you're also creating these academic relationships. So that way, if you're doing this, oftentimes you need to get out of school next semester for your branch, you can just mention what the previous professors have already done, the relationships you have, and how you still succeeded in their class, and how you can replicate that here again. And that was what I used to get out of my classes 2 summers in a row, considering NYU gets out of school late May for the summer. So just some tips there. You're creating, it's a win-win for every single aspect of your life. So talk to your professors and get that date fixed for yourself.
And before you do so, talk to your manager so that way you could get prepped, because you got to be confident. You got to go in there. It's not like you're asking. It's like you're telling them with assertiveness. And you're using a level 3 influence. There's not passive influence, then there's assertive influence, and then there's that in between. You're using assertive influence on this.
Mm-hmm. By the way, just for the record, guys, when I was in college, I got out. I got out a month, not like a week, a month and a half early from over 20 classes in college. I did it 4 years in a row. 5 classes every single year. Okay. It can be done with no matter any professor, any class, or any course. And we will do this for the summer for branches, kind of getting out of your finals early. But to Mike's point, you're going to have a better, more winter break January program success if you get back home earlier, if you get out of your classes, if you can end finals and earlies. And also the other part is you just have a bigger winter break for fun and yourself personally too. I would want that if I were you, but if you guys want to drag it out, you can. Anyways, if you want some tips, talk to your manager about how to do that. We'll talk about that a little more for our NLG session. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Again, once you filled out that form, make sure you post in the TLA chat. If you need to check it on some dates, do that, and then post the green check mark later once you have taken care of that. Want to give a special shout out because I wasn't able to do it last week to our newest letters of intent. So congratulations to Chloe Corey and Nick Dana on submitting their first year branch manager letters of intent. Congratulations on making that step. And Nick Hernandez had a great call with you earlier today, submitted his letter of intent to be a district manager. So congratulations to all those people on making that jump, making that commitment. And now it's time to actually go out there and earn it. One thing I will say as we go through the push, before I go into our guerrilla marketing, I'm going to wrap things up here for the call here today. Again, I really just want to re-echo my thoughts of, hey, if you're in TLA, I just want to let you guys know again, what my expectation of every single person in TLA is that you're selling at least $2,500 for the push. That's just my expectation. My expectation is that and you guys know that. What's the expectation of a sales rep, not like a leader on the team, but what's the expectation of a sales rep's weekly performance during the summer? How much should they be selling on a weekly basis?
At least $1,000. Hit the newsletter.
$1,000. I'm glad that Mike was the only one that could answer that for me. $1,000 is the weekly standard during the summer of how much a sales rep should be selling, during just for the week. Not a good sales rep, just any rep on the team, So this is a 2.5 week push. All I'm asking of our Leadership Academy is that for the 2.5 weeks of the biggest push of the fall campaign, that you step up and do the bare minimum for it. $1,000 a week and $500 in the first half of the week. That's what we're asking for you. So I'm just letting you know that's my expectation of our TLA class. My expectation is that every single person is getting that $2,000 credit. My expectation is that everyone's getting to at least 2,500. Now, there still should be some gunners. Like, don't make your goal 2,500. But for those of you guys that are like, there's going to be at least a handful of you on this call that like you haven't even really done stuff since the push started, and you're still like in freak out mode. That's cool. And you got to be turned into a figure it out mode. If you went out and you use Halloween weekend as like a party weekend, well, you better be using next weekend as a grind weekend to actually get ahead on school and assignments and make some moves with your actual demos too. Most of y'all don't even need to do that many demos to sell $2,500. And quite frankly, if you can't sell $2,500 around your schedule for TLA, I'm not confident in your ability to run an office during the busiest season of the year. So, make sure that's a standard. And the main reason that that's the number for me is because I want as many people from this division on that damn trip in February. And the key to hitting the trip is making sure you get the 2K or the 3K credit at the 25 and 5,000 levels. Diana is excused from the call today. She's off Mike.
I was just gonna speak to this. And it doesn't matter where you're at, to Andrew's point. Like Tiffany Baez, she was less than 500 for the campaign, is at $1,100 for the push. Liz Lopez was at maybe $2,000 for the campaign. She's at $1,100 for the push. Cassidy was less than 500 for the whole campaign. She's at 1,400 for the push. Rochelle's at 1,500 for the push. And then I know you're about to say about Deanna, but Deanna's already had 10 orders for the push. Deanna's at 6,500 for the push. And Deanna was before the push, she was at almost $10,000 in career sales. She actually fought to get into TLA to hit 10K before the last prep. And she's already at 6,500 for the push with 10 orders around full-time classes. 10 orders around full-time classes.
Yep. I'll actually wait to call on those people until our divisional kickoff. So we'll save it to then and call on a couple of thoughts, and some of them aren't here. So I know there's some people stepping up and leading, and thanks for you guys that are getting on the radar and doing that. And again, I'll just tell you guys, it's a really big statement when you do that. It's also a really big statement when you don't, and so if you're having trouble, it's also a big statement to the people that communicate about the effort they're putting in, or if they're struggling and they're worried about not hitting it, versus the people that I just see the report that they just didn't do anything for 2.5 weeks during the biggest push of the year, and they never communicated. So, think differently. There's a lot of you guys that are getting, some business orders and things like that turned in. So keep working on those. We're going to talk about that. I think if you just came off the last TLA prep, or not TLA prep, but Alliance call, Taylor Max just did a message on how to gift. I would recommend going back and watching that video. We have a recording. Even if you weren't on today's session, go back and watch that video to learn how to really gift appropriately for the push. And we got some hot phone jam updates coming tonight. By the way, Deanna also is the one that won the Apple Watch, so there is a high correlation to people performing in the phone jams and receiving some prizes. And I don't know if you guys saw this yet. I'm going to go over this in the kickoff, but this is effing ridiculous. I don't know if you guys realize how much Cutco this is, but
absolutely ridiculous.
You can't even fit it all on the page, this guy's hold on. That's ridiculous. That's a wild phone jam contest. Okay. That is insane. This is I don't know. I thought someone messed up the promo for this too, but this goes to show you how much money the Eastern region is taking and dumping out to try to secure this cup. So we got it close. It's going to come down to the wire. Let's talk about our value topic for the day and what I want to coach you guys and educate you on. It's something called guerrilla marketing. And this is something that's just good to learn in business. I'll give you guys an example. And I shared this at one point with you all, but a lot of you all know I have a podcast called Ace Weekly, as a lot of you guys have heard and listened to before. It's one of the top 100 business podcasts on Spotify and iTunes. And when we released the show, here's a couple of little fun facts for you. When we released that podcast, the first day it released, it was the number 7 podcast in the country. It pumped up into the top 100 business podcasts, the top 100 overall podcast period on all of iTunes. The first day it was released, and it was the number 1 new and noteworthy podcast of the first 3 weeks that it was out. So I share that with you guys as accolades, but what I want to share with you is how we did that. How did that even happen? Like because by the way, up until that point, I was like, and at least in that sphere of the world of things, I was a nobody. There was no public profile or presence of Andrew Evans. Ace Weekly wasn't a thing. There was no brand. There was no podcast. There was no big guests that we had on the show that like brought a lot of attention and energy. The way we did that, and by the way, the way I did that is literally using my personal network. Is literally being like aggressive as hell with my marketing and advertising game plans to really get this thing out there. And how did I do that? I just repeated and did what I'd already done 20,000 times at Cutco. Literally, I just replicated. I've done this 20 times to open up an office. I'm just going to replicate it and do it again for this business. And that's the value of learning how to run our business, because guess what? Most businesses are pretty damn similar. You know, I'm at a point in my career where I can have a 50-year-old guy that's been running a company for 30 years. They're doing $50 million a year. And I could probably sit down with that guy for an hour and fix half the problems in his business and start taking it to the next level. And I really am that confident, is just because I've done and operated so many businesses. I've had my hands in them. I've coached and seen so many others. And most businesses are similar, guys. Like they really, when you understand what flows and what drives a business, what creates the success, what creates the failures, a lot of them are very similar. And that's why learning our business at a high level at a young age can be very valuable, because it makes you more valuable everywhere else you go. So in what I did today, by the way, for that specifically for the podcast, I shared this, like, I think a TLA prep ago, but I literally, here's a couple things that I did. I'll tell you guys, I'll walk you through the process, give you an idea. Action number one is I set a date,
Here?
I set a
Inside?
date. Have we muted them? Or someone talking? Someone asking a question? All right. I set a date. So there was a deadline. There was something that I announced publicly. This is our start date. This is what I'm working towards. So it wasn't just like hey, yeah, we'll see how it goes. There was benchmarks and there was deadlines. Just like we're going to have with our guerrilla marketing program over the winter break, there are like certain metrics that I'm trying to meet by a certain date and time. So I had goals for the launch. Our goals were to get, I think it was 1,000 downloads in the first day, and 2,000 downloads in the first day, and then 500 5-star reviews, in the first day. So there's goals, metrics, numbers behind it that we were working towards. And I set out the date way before ahead of time and started promoting it months ahead of time. So I knew what I wanted. I had goals for it, started promoting it way ahead of time. Second thing I did is I didn't use just me and my resources and my network. I used my network's network. There's a saying, your network is your net worth. One thing that we're going to do is we're going to do something called a social media D-Day, which we've kind of done in the past. And, that's a chance for you to not just use your own network. Like when you post on your social media, you tap into your own network, first level. When you reach out to your network to have them post on social media, you're using your network's network, which means second and third connections, a lot of which you don't even really know, but they're still second and third connections to you. So what I did is I assembled a team of promoters for the podcast, and I had individual conversations with each of them. And I just said, hey, our goal is to get 500. Can you just get, 20 5-star reviews on this day? Here's the date. Can you help me out? I rallied people and enrolled people. So I had, a group of 15 to 20 people, and each of them were committed to going out and on their phone and on their family's phone. And if they were in a class, they were going to grab a couple other people's phone and just going on there and putting a 5-star review and just posting something. They were all enrolled in the process. So I had 15 to 20 people that were enrolled and helping me start this thing and get it off to a strong campaign. Then I tapped into my own personal network. I went through and I personally texted almost 2,000 people, on the same day, reaching out to them and casually. I had a couple. Then I had my network's network again. I had people that I knew had big social media followings, and I had them posting up and sharing. And I'm going to give you guys the shortened version. There's more. You can ask me if you ever want those specifics of how I did that. But, that's an example of what does guerrilla marketing look like. And in one day, from one day's massive effort, we were able to literally surpass every single podcast that had been, released at that time period and performance. And that is what helped prop Ace Weekly up to where it was today and continue to be able to ride that wave from there on out. The launch is really, really important. without that, I don't know if I probably wouldn't even been running the podcast anymore today if it wouldn't have launched at such a high level, because it would take a lot longer to go up there very, very, very slowly. I would have spent 1 year building up to what I did in 1 day, because there's power and momentum. Just like iTunes algorithms, once a podcast starts getting a lot of views, it starts showing it to a lot of people. On Instagram, if you have a post that goes viral, starts getting a lot of views and a lot of comments, then it goes in the explore page. It gets more views and more comments. There's power and momentum in business. And that's a lot of the same thing with advertising. There's power in getting your office off to a strong start. So this is, I hope you guys are capturing a little bit of the mentality of like, what does aggressive guerrilla marketing look like? What does it look like to really launch something? So I'm sharing with you all, this is TLA, because this is one thing I want you all to learn so you can use for another company, a business, your own personal, or in our Cutco business. 2 dates that you want to have down in your planner and in your schedule is number 1, D-Day number 1. Okay, this is just your own network. You're just going to post to social media, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. You just want to post up and do what we call a triple threat. And that's just posting up some content the 14th. The big day, okay, is December 5th. December 5th is when you have a chance to say, all right, cool. What network do I actually have? What is my network's network? Can I get, I might be tapped in on my network and I've already reached out to my friends, but like, how many friends do I actually have? Like, if my friends all made a list of all their friends, how many people does that give me access to? And how many people can I actually enroll in helping me? By the way, like, I'm talking about this, guys. I was able to enroll 20 people on working for me all day and just helping me out for free. This is like your ability to enroll your friends on like literally posting something on Instagram. Ain't that hard, So like, make sure you're starting to reach out to those people. Some of those people could be people that you have on the PR list there, but that's gonna be on December 5th. That's part of our D-Day preparation. And the last thing I'll announce to you around with the guerrilla marketing stuff, okay, is we got to have content, and the content doesn't matter as much as the activity matters. Remember that. The content does not matter as much as the activity. Having the perfect plan or the perfect visuals doesn't matter as much as executing it at a high level and getting it in front of people. The content doesn't sell, attention sells. Getting in front of a lot of people and faces is what makes things successful. But the content does matter, and you do want to have good return on it. So you guys have all seen the Mojo posts, the little visuals. I'm sure you guys have posted them a bunch of times, little triple threats. I'm going to do a content contest for the division. So this is 2-part. Number 1, it's good to know how to make some of this stuff, just because you will want to use it for your own office one day. And for those of you guys that are a little more artistic, a little bit more creative, this is your time to shine. Okay, and get in here and make some good stuff. But I'm gonna do a little contest before Fall Classic. And by the way, I'll give away $50 to whoever the winner is, whoever's content we use, or whoever's chosen to have the best content. Maybe we'll do a little voting process. But $50 to the winner. All you got to do is you can make a couple, submit them all. You can make one, but just download the Mojo app, or you can do a non-Mojo. But this allows you to make a little interactive video that can advertise for it. Talk to your manager if you want some specifics of what should probably be included. It is going to be for the winter break advertising. So it doesn't say summer work. It says winter break work opportunities, hit a trip, count some of the perks, and you can make one of those and submit it to me by Fall Classic. I'll choose a winner for the $50 contest. But all y'all artists, creatives, people out there, make sure you get in on that. I'd love to see what you come up with, and looking for someone to eventually do that a little bit more full time here. Here's the last thing I want to do with the last 5 minutes of the call. Okay, I want to give you guys a little bit of preparation for next week's order jam. Okay, as a lot of you all know, we have our order jam coming up, and it will take place right after next Friday's TLA prep. But I also want to make sure you guys are doing the right things to set up a powerful order jam. I say 2,500, by the way, because I went through TLA 5 times, literally in high school, and then 4 years of college. Every single Olean push that I was a part of, I sold $2,500. Every single one. When I was in high school, when I was a freshman, when I was a second-time branch, when I was a third-time branch, I always found a way to make it happen. I'll be honest with you guys. A lot of those pushes where I sold $2,500, I didn't do many demos. I just closed some phone orders. My first push, I literally was insanely busy, and I closed like a $2,300 order when we were in Olean on the freaking bus ride to the last day of like the push, like super last second. Anyways, you guys can capitalize on business orders, but you got to set it up for yourself. You can't just like call a couple people Friday night and expect to close $3,000 in sales. You got to set it up the right way. So here's the 3 stages to setting up a powerful order jam. And I'm going to go ahead and put the waiting room back on so no one else joins us yet. Okay, 3 stages to setting up a powerful order jam. The first one will be next Wednesday night. Next Wednesday night. Raise your hand if you've already sent out an email to all of their previous customers. All right, cool. So some of you guys have already done that. Nice, Anthony. This is when you want to do that. So Wednesday night is when you send out the emails if you have not done so already. The idea, you can send it out beforehand, but I actually like to send it out closer to when we're actually going to reach out to them. The timing matters with this thing. Now, who do you send those emails out to? It will be all of your old customers, any of your friends and family that you've seen before that have never bought from you, any of your friends and family that have bought from you, any of your friends and family that you just have never seen before and have never bought anything from you or whatever. You just have never seen them that could potentially be interested. Shoot, you can send it out to other random friends. I don't care. But you want to get as big of an email list together as possible. So by Wednesday, next Wednesday, show up to the TLA prep with your customer email list already made. Like you've already got them downloaded. We'll show you how to set up the emails, help you send them out. You'll send them out Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, you'll send text to all those customers. It's like a heads up text of a, hey, I sent you an email, blah, blah. Let me know when you get the chance. And then Friday, Saturday is when we'll actually call those customers and orders. Make sure you're getting the emails. I would, by the way, quick little tip, get emails from every single appointment that you do during the push, not just the people that you sell to. Get the emails, the people you don't sell to as well. So you can add them onto those lists for future too. And even if they don't buy for Olean, you have a better shot there too. But I make sure you're reaching out to old past customers from the summer. This is a very, very easy way. And the way that you get there, by the way, is either sometimes it's big orders. A lot of times it's not big orders, guys. It's like, I sold an entertainer pack to grandma that bought for me, a homemaker for me back in June for the holidays. This family's missing a table knife, so I sold them a table knife. This family is doing a buy 3, get 1 free on some gift sets, for some friends and family for the holidays here too. There are different ways to do it, but you want to make sure you're setting up your order jam now. You're ready to execute, and we're ready to lead the way as a team for this Capture the Cup push. Any questions? Closing thoughts? All righty. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.